Hello, community! Last time I indicated that maybe the richest man on this planet would be interested in another planet. And some of my viewers said, hey, you are crazy, you're out of your mind. And you are absolutely right. So today we have a look at some rock-solid study by Harvard University, together with the MIT Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And now we are finally back on reality, and we will have a look at the public opinion, how it reflects and shapes the behavior of a society, and how we can use AI to forecast public opinion, analyze public opinion, and if we can simulate and predict the outcome, how we can use it to modify it. And some of my viewers might say, wait a second, but this is exactly the same like last video. No, you're wrong, because Harvard looks here at TV stations. And MIT includes radio stations. And I had in my last video here social media. So you see, I was ahead of time. So sorry. Of course, I respect Harvard and MIT. And today we go with TV stations. Beautiful. So here's the study we're going to talk about, published in a preprint server, March 28, 2023. Language model trained on media diets or media sets like CNN or Fox News or whatever your channel have. And how did it can predict the public opinion. And it's a brand new study and highly interesting because it uses artificial intelligence. So what they have as a premise, they say mass media, now of course only TV stations, control the diffusion of information in our society. And this frames the key political and the key economic issues. So they look now at the impact that the media exposure has on the attitude of people and the people's behavior. And this is highly interesting. And they said, we, Harvard and MIT, ask now whether recent advantages in deep learning and in language modeling, LLMs for example, enable us to predict public opinion. And when you can predict here the social ecosystem, the social structure that it all includes, then you can understand the system. And when you can understand the system, you can optimize the system. So here we go. So what we have? We have TV stations. Whatever TV station you have, this is just some American TV station. And they say natural language models can better capture the semantic now of the media content, what the people say on those channels, and adapt them to specific sources. So the content of CNN talking about the same topic might be different than in Fox News, where they talk also about the same topic. And an LLM can now differentiate between the sources. And so now, Harvard MIT said in this work, our hypothesis is that LLMs can predict the public opinion if we train them. If we train them on the historical data, we can predict the future. So we showed that even a simple n-gram-based model, remember n-gram-based when we had word2vec with a vector space, are capable of doing this to some degree. Also, of course, more powerful models such as BERT, a transformer model, an encoder-stack of a transformer architecture, greatly increases the accuracy. Harvard and MIT. And this sounds so great because, you know, what you watch defines what you think. And you might think, but not for me. Yes. Unfortunately, this is the truth for everybody. So here we go. So we are Harvard and MIT, start with an LLM or with a BERT model and fine-tune it now on a specific data set from the media, from a TV station, let's say CNN, or let's say Fox News, or let's say what is the Deutsche Welle, or whatever you have. And this adaptation allows the model to absorb new information while also updating internal knowledge representation already present in the BERT model. They probed this model with questions, and now the interesting part is that they have now a server response distribution of subpopulations. What is a subpopulation? In the old time, I would have called them a minority. Look at me. I'm a person with a big nose. I'm a subpopulation. And the result is that the media diet models, the BERT models that are trained now on each particular TV station, I've shown to have a predictive power across topics like public health or economics, to be robust to phrasing of questions and effective across media sources. And they contain a predictive signal. So they can predict the future, what's going to happen in our society if a channel presents a specific topic, even when they adjust for the demographic of each subpopulation. So have a look at this. They build a computational model for a subpopulation. So you really go in the details, you really go in the nitty-gritty here, and you have a model, and now suddenly you can analyze what happens here in silico in your computer model. What happens to the public opinion of 340 million Americans, for example? Or as I would have called it, how the masses will behave. And if you think about 2000 years ago in the old Roman Empire, there was a beautiful, what do you call it, an emperor, Nero. This is exactly what we are talking about. So here we go. When they fine-tune BERT, and then read the article, it's nice how they fine-tune BERT. They use online news article, TV transcript, and radio station transcript. Yeah, remember my last video, I used social media ahead of the time. So this here is my visualization, how I imagine the fine-tuning of BERT's gonna happen. And here we are back to the original publication. So they have the media TV station models, Wall Street Journal plus BERT. So what they do, they train it on the first week, and then they have a human survey in week 2. So they say, okay, if this is broadcasted by this station, a week later, how do people think about it? What information they have kept? How is the response distribution? Good, bad, necessary, unnecessary? What is happening in the public opinion? And then they can say, okay, and the more we train here a system, week 1, 2, 100, 200, we have here public opinion predictions suddenly, where we can really check if I give you just the training of week, I don't know, 25, can I predict what happens in week 26 in our society? What is the dominant opinion in our society, in our nation, on this continent, on planet Earth? So this here clearly, and then you do it for all the different TV stations or radio stations or whatever you have. So you see, you get really a good training data set for your BERT model. And the nice thing, they did this on a weekly basis. So they, not like in the old times you had months, but they do it now weekly. So they can fine-tune their model weekly. And they have done this with CNN, Fox News, New York Times, and NPR. Yes. So it is adapting to news article a week before the survey. So every week you do the survey, and the system learns. The BERT model learns. And you might ask, hey, why is it a BERT model and not an LLM like GPT-4? Because BERT goes here on the complete sentence. BERT is analytically more precise to understand information given to it and to make prediction than an LLM. Because the LLM just looks at the left side of where you have the analysis interrupt. But BERT takes in complete sentences and looks left and right. So therefore, BERT has, in this case, when it is about the accuracy of understanding the semantic content of a sentence, and for a public opinion, this is important. You do not use an LLM, but you use a BERT model. So, and of course, since it's Harvard and MIT, you have a highly scientific approach, and you analyze the sensitivity of your approach, and you have a lot of questions about, is the synonym grouping method robust? To paraphrases, do we have predicting power across the media sources? How we control the demographic of subpopulation? Beautiful, interesting question, but let's skip it. And you might say, so what is the result? And I have to tell you of the detailed literature that the sociocentric prospective prediction of this model are a little bit higher than the egocentric prospective prediction, which means now for us as society, we are, yes. So if we look further into this study, it means that we have an egocentric and a sociocentric approach. Egocentric is clear, this concerns us. What do we think about the past? What do you think about the future? Socio, how do you think society will behave in the future, or how does it behave in the past? Good, worse. How does it work? And you can see here the breakdown by question type, and then we have some detailed information about the topic. And I would like to focus here on one thing, and this is the topic. Now have a look at this. The predictive signal by AI, or what AI, the trained, the fine-tuned BERT model on all these TV channels, on all the historic data shows now that if we predict now something, what's happening next week in the public opinion with our AI system, this is highly dependent on the question type and the topic. And here we focus on the topic. And you see here the topic, and you see I have more or less two groups. You have the groups where it's more or less the correlation about 0. And then you see here correlation starting really to go up. So what happens here? Well, we are human. So if we see that the media effect, so if you watch a specific channel and there is about business, about income, about prices are going up, what you should buy, it's about some commercials. Here we are as a community, as a society, really susceptible to our TV media content. So here, if you, 2 o'clock in the morning, you watch TV and there's this home channel where they sell you, a set of forks, 700 forks for $300. This is exactly where buying and selling happens if the TV can guide you to make this purchase. Beautiful. So here we are very sensitive to the content that we see on TV. But you see here's also a group where it's not gonna happen. And this is a different topic. Let's look at policy. Let's say you are in America. And in America, you only have two party politic. You have only two systems, Democrats or Republican. If you are a lifelong Democrat or a lifelong Republican, you are not going to choose now and say, okay, tomorrow, having seen the content on TV, I will switch over to the other party. No. Here, you are almost not sensitive to what you see on TV. Your whole life, you voted for one party. You probably will continue to vote for the party next time. Also with real estate. Let's say you have a house, you live in your house, and you think your house is worth, $1 million. And now even if the economic conditions nationwide decrease or destabilize, you still think, hey, I have a beautiful house and it's worth $1 million. Also, if all the houses in your neighborhood sell for much less, you have here your pre-beliefs, your prior beliefs. So you see, there are topics that are very sensitive to new daily TV input and topics where it is harder. And now, fascinating topic is, how can you use those things here to influence here the hardcore, the prior beliefs? And this is also an interesting topic, but not today, because today we are talking about public opinion formation. How does a public opinion is created? By whom? How does it disperse across society? A lot of beautiful series. Read here the publication by MIT and Harvard, and also some recent work in linking neural language models to human cognitive processes. How much we can do a one-to-one assignment, the functional assignment of human cognitive processes. Highly interesting stuff. But 3 problems, of course. We are humans, stays the same. We have a selective exposure, a systemic bias, in which people gravitate toward information which is similar what they believe. An echo chamber, direct combination with this. Selected environments amplify or strengthen the opinions we share with like-minded individuals. Let's say you have 2 pubs in your village. And in one pub you have your friends and you know what they are thinking. You have the same opinion as they have. Or you have the second pub in your village. And the second pub is people who are completely on the other side of the spectrum. Where are you going? Where do you feel comfortable? Where do you feel welcome? echo chambers are very important. And of course, bubbles. We all live in our bubble, and those bubbles are filtered bubbles. So the content curation and the recommendation algorithms now, on TV, not so easy, but maybe on social media was a better idea, but never mind. So the algorithms recommend something that in our users' past behavior, confirming our worldviews that we had in the past. So if you are on, I don't know, somewhere on a platform, so let's take YouTube. We record this for YouTube. YouTube will show you new YouTube videos that are similar to what you have watched before, because YouTube wanted you stay on the channel. So it shows you, if you know, YouTube knows, hey, he likes this particular topic. He will show you more about this particular topic. So we have a systematic bias, we have echo chambers, and we have artificial or digital filter bubbles. And we have to fight against all of this if we want to recognize where we are. Because we are, yes. So, these models have an interesting aspect. Because the moment we can go on a level of subpopulations, regional subpopulations, you know, the people with a big nose and the people with a small nose, then we can identify, with the help of the AI system, harmful messaging that is going to happen on air, on the TV station. And they also open up the potential for more sophisticated messaging effect studies, where they use specific wording, specific phrasing. They use a specific language, maybe against or in favor of, let's call it a minority. So they shape here the public opinion just by presenting you some event in a very specific wording. So we have to watch out for this, because this subconsciously influences you, creates an opinion stream exactly in the direction that they wanted. So in general, highly interesting work. The tradition of the new natural language processing tools can be summarized. You have a vast amount here of social data for decision making done by humans. There are a wave of new tools with LLMs, with AI, with BERT system that can now empower here research. And here as a use case, we have here 3, if you want, disciplines for science. Political science. If you study political science, I think you will have to make yourself familiar with artificial intelligence systems, BERT predictive systems that go beyond normal statistics. Maybe if you study social psychology, you are interested how TV stations, radio stations, social media influences everything, and how you can use them and how you can influence them. And of course, if you go with computational social science, so you say, what happens to our society if we use all those digital services? If we are only living in a digital world, what happens to society? How should we structure our computational resources? How our interface should be configured? Highly interested for a use case. You see now artificial intelligence systems, LLM, BERT system, whatever will come up next week. They have here, I think, an important role to play, simply as a tool to understand here the complete ecosystem where we as humans live and interact. And you know, a side effect of all those YouTube videos, I start to reflect. I start to reflect how I want to be a part of the society. An active part of society, participating in discussions. And it's great to have this discussion with my subscribers. And I do have to leave my comfort zone. And this is great. I get involved with people who seem fixed on an idea. But you know what? Sometimes I discover that they are just vulnerable. And sometimes they are just alone, like I am. And there is an ocean of opportunities out there. So, and I understand how magnificent it is, all this digital communication and AI and everything. But you know, sometimes we also have to reflect that those digital communications, they might try to convince us to do something, to follow somebody, to behave in a certain way that is not our natural way to behave. And therefore, sometimes I tell me, hey, like now at the end of this video, why not discover the world out there with all of my senses? Go out there, leave my digital communication behind, and enjoy. And I hope you can do the same and you don't become like the other.